Turns out Bill Ackman, the man who turned on DEI, has a new favorite in the presidential race, and it's not who you expect. It's actually a guy who you probably forgot even existed. That's right, Dean Phillips. Bill Ackman, a $1 million gift, and a website tweak, a write-up from the New York Times. So yes, Bill Ackman, he has a new favorite in the presidential race. He gave $1 million to Biden Democratic challenger Dean Phillips. New York Times writes, the campaign website for Representative Dean Phillips, the Minnesota Democrat mounting a long-shot primary challenge to President Biden, has a policy platform that signals liberal bona fides tempered by a Midwestern businessman's practicality. It includes headers like climate action, women's health and economic security, and immigration reform. How novel. Haven't seen those on any campaign websites ever. This guy's really breaking new ground. Sometimes, it takes that Midwestern businessman ethic, to introduce a new idea like immigration reform. Sometime on Tuesday, one header was changed. Gone was diversity, equity, and inclusion. In its place, equity and restorative justice.
Which frankly is coming out of the same school of thought. Like, it's really not even a change on its own terms.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's basically the same set of concepts, just with slightly different emphasis and wording.
So as to less offend the billionaire who just gave you $1 million, would be my guess.
While at the same time trying to claim independence, because he can almost legitimately claim he didn't change anything, because according to the article, the text is the same.
The text is just it's the headline. Yeah,
they just changed the headline.
The text beneath the header, including acknowledgments of racial disparities and vague promises to ensure equal opportunity, was untouched. But the tweak was nonetheless significant. Even more so was its timing. On Saturday, Mr. Phillips had received the endorsement of William A. Ackman, the billionaire investor who in recent months has become an outspoken critic of so-called DEI programs in higher education. Mr. Ackman did not merely endorse Mr. Phillips. In a lengthy post on X on Saturday, where Mr. Ackman has a considerable following, he said that he had already given the maximum $3,300 donation allowed to Mr. Phillips' campaign, and he announced that on Tuesday, after the federal holiday for Martin Luther King's birthday, he planned to wire $1 million to We Deserve Better, a super PAC formed late last year that is supporting Mr. Phillips' candidacy. Mr. Ackman's online endorsement drew responses from a number of ex-users who noted the DEI language on Mr. Phillips' campaign platform. In a response to one post Tuesday morning, Mr. Ackman addressed them, saying that Mr. Phillips, quote, didn't understand DEI until recently. He added, I expect that statement will be revised promptly. By Tuesday night, it had been. So the New York Times references one tweet.
Don't you realize DEI means mediocre white men can't run for president anymore?
You're right. Yeah, exactly. If he really absorbed it, maybe he'd get that message. But the New York Times just outlined that one tweet. Here's another tweet that's sort of equally suspicious, and this comes up later in this segment as well. Bill Ackman also tweets out, I believe Dean Phillips didn't understand what DEI was when that was made part of his website. I made the same mistake. He is getting educated as we speak. Let's listen to what he has to say after he gets educated. The education in the form of the $1 million wiring. That's a good education. I wish I had an education like that. Maybe I'd be less bitter about academia if they gave me $1 million.
Well, maybe you wouldn't be driving pizzas around.
That too. Probably wouldn't be doing this show either.
Probably not. Who needs the headaches?
Who needs the headache? That's the danger of the DEI movement. It comes inside a Trojan horse. Of constructed of beneficent sounding words. He was either tired or drunk when he wrote that.
I did not realize that DEI meant when my favorite settler colonial project decided to commit a genocide against a bunch of brown people, they wouldn't be on my side.
Right, and that people would be allowed to oppose that. I didn't realize DEI.
I didn't know that's what would come with it. I thought we were just talking about a few superficial board seats going to people of color.
Right, exactly. Exactly. In an interview Wednesday, Mr. Ackman provided some additional backstory. He said that over the weekend he had sent Mr. Phillips a handful of articles, including a column in the New York Times that sought to distinguish what Ackman called the DEI movement from the principles of diversity and inclusion that Mr. Ackman said he believes in, and which the congressman also supported. Included in that email is also a screenshot of the Western Union receipt where the $1 million donation was made into his campaign account.
Well, you just look at this, and Bill Ackman is like the Big Lebowski, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like this
yeah.
You're just so fucking rich that you can afford to just buy yourself a meaningless presidential candidate whose race is going to make absolutely no impact, just as a toy. It's just a toy. I can't believe Ackman would be under any illusion that this candidacy is going anywhere. He just feels like buying a candidate.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, why settle for a measly 20 G's when we can keep the entire million? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
It's like he saw a candidate in the window at Sharper Image and he bought it.
See what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
But Mr. Ackman rejected any suggestion that his hefty financial contribution had played any role in the tweak of Mr. Phillips' campaign platform, which Politico reported on Tuesday. I am not paying him money to change his website, Mr. Ackman said in response to a question about the timing of the wording change. He noted that the major contribution had been to a super PAC, which is legally separate from the campaign. I am backing the guy because I believe he could be a great president. All right, so you want to watch some awkward video, folks. Dean Phillips was asked about this whole episode on CNN, and you see for yourself if you believe his explanation.
I have a question that I have to get in, and we have limited time, and it would be a miscarriage if I don't get this in, because you've gotten a lot of attention for, as you mentioned, race there. The DEI language on your website has changed. This is obviously an issue you're dealing with as well. Politico highlighted this in a new report. You changed the DEI drop down to, quote, equity and restorative justice. Why did you do that? And can you explain the difference between these two things?
Of course, absolutely. First of all, we didn't change the language. We did change the drop down, and I'll tell you why. Because I believe in diversity, I believe in equity, I believe in inclusion. But what has inclusion done for the black community in this country? What have both parties done to close the racial wealth gap? I want to take it a step further. I made that change to restorative justice. By the way, nobody buys me.
You're actually more woke than the DEI. DEI doesn't go far enough. He's actually positioning himself to the left of Bill Ackman, right? Because restorative justice is actually a more substantive term than DEI. Sure. But did this have something to do with that $1 million? Let's find out.
I'm the only member of Congress who takes no PAC money, corporate or otherwise, no lobbyist money, no money from members of Congress, and I don't have a leadership PAC. That makes me the only one out of 535 people that doesn't play that nauseating game. Nobody buys.
You have a super PAC. Ackman donated to your super PAC. So I don't know what that blizzard of bullshit was, but you clearly have a super PAC. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten the $1 million.
Yeah, how do you give it to you in a back alley?
Yeah, no. According to the Times, he wired $1 million to the super PAC. That's on the record. So I don't know what that was all about. All right, let's keep going.
By people that doesn't play that nauseating game. Nobody buys me. If a donor came to me and told me to do something, I will tell the donor to go pound sand. That's the truth. But here's what we have to do.
Well, I have to mention, I do want to interrupt you on that because I think you're mentioning Bill Ackman obviously has insinuated that he has done that very thing to you, which I think is maybe what you were speaking to there.
He hasn't insinuated. He's basically, he's insinuated that he's influenced you. It's public knowledge he gave you this money. So now she brings up the tweet.
Learning from so many people over the last 2 months about a lot of things I wasn't aware of. Mr. Ackman is one of them, one of thousands of people that have shared perspective. He has not asked me, told me, informed me to do anything at all. But I want to make it really clear.
That's what the $1 million is for. Every politician plays this game. They get a big donation, and they're like, no, they didn't ask me to change their position. As if a donation is not a tacit request, or even if he didn't make a request, even if Bill Ackman didn't bring it up, You don't think that it occurred to this guy, hey, we just got $1 million donation that's now a high-profile donation from a guy who is now famous for his crusade against DEI. Perhaps we should take the words DEI off of our website. Does anybody honestly believe that was not the calculation on his campaign's part? They just happened to change the heading right after they got $1 million donation from Bill Ackman?
That money was not to change my position. In all honesty, Bill Ackman is a big fan of a film you might have seen with Robert Redford called Indecent Proposal. That $1 million was for my wife.
Yeah. It's like taking a KFC ad off of your website the day after you get a donation from Popeyes. You know what I mean? Like, and no, they didn't ask me to do it. I
mean, it is funny. He's trying to have it both ways. You know, he changed the title, but he didn't change the text.
Right.
Like I don't understand what the fuck he's doing. I honestly don't, because this candidacy is not going to go anywhere. I can't. You never know with the ego of these politicians, but he can't imagine that he's going to make a meaningful impact on the race. So why burn the people who are going to give you the board seats after you get out of office? I really don't understand what's happening here with him.
Yeah, because he's retiring from Congress.
Right. What are you doing?
So he's not going to be a politician anymore.
You're supposed to go make sure Boeing can fly unsafe planes. You get a nice board seat. And you just vote for lobbying money. What are you doing? What is this guy doing? I don't get it.
I think this guy has fuck you money. I think he's pretty wealthy.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
He doesn't need them?
I don't think he needs them.
Let me get to the point. We are litigating slogans instead of talking about solutions. And I've got a plan.
Is he lying,
I want to close.
Because he said he did.
He's not lying. No, I'll tell you who's lying in the media. This is a false portrayal of the truth. But Brianna, let me.
He tweeted it. Let me pull up the. Yeah. Congressman, in fairness,
Brianna,
let me pull up the tweet. He put
fake
this up.
Media.
He said it in his tweet that you were getting educated as we speak. That's not the media. That's Bill Ackman himself, or sorry, an X. I don't know. He's putting it out there himself. That's not the media, Congressman. That's Bill Ackman.
You know, Brianna, what a shame that if the media is portraying being educated as a problem. I listen to everybody. That's my whole point right here. Let me explain this whole thing. I am being educated, but I'll tell you the most important education I've received is how the black community has been suffering because of the long tail of slavery.
All right, blah, blah. Yeah, he already said that. Yeah, that's what she's saying, that it's bad to be educated. It's bad to be educated. I mean, just the gaslighting of that is horrible. And
educated with the eye clamps in the movie theater and the eye drops.
Yeah.
They educated them all right.
Please clap.